Right, LDBC, this is your boy, the Coach Live on the Coach Show, the Coach Show Live. Please excuse the background noise. Let's get right into it. Okay, I had a brother. He sent me an email, and from the email and how I'm reading it, the brother, I think he was a little disgruntled at a video that I did maybe about 9 months ago when Trump announced that he was going to be cutting, Section 8. And I made a video saying, good, he need to. Okay, he need to cut that shit out. He need to cut it. And, he also wants to hear my position on DEI. Okay, so first of all, let's go with Section 8. Okay, Section 8, to me, in my opinion, it was never designed for people to be on welfare in Section 8 for their whole life. It was never designed for that. It was designed for people to help people get on their feet. To me, that's what it was designed for. Okay, but over the years, you have people that are abusing it. And this is the one thing that I think Trump got right. People are abusing it. You have people that are able-bodied that won't work. And I think that's the whole scenario with Section 8. Why, Donald Trump is so adamant about getting rid of it. Good. Because I think if you're able-bodied, I think a person needs to get up and go to work. And, they're the people that are not able-bodied, that they have disability. They got disability for that. But they're people that are not able-bodied that do actually need it. And I'm not talking about them. Okay? I'm talking about people that they're young, they're able-bodied, they can get their ass up and they can go to work. I'm talking about them. Okay, good. Yeah, go on and cut it. Go on and cut that funding for Section 8. Make these people get up off their ass. Make these people stop having all these damn kids. And make these people go to work. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because the thing of it is, you're a taxpayer. How do you feel, man? You paying all your tax money, right? And your tax money going to pay. You get up and go to work for people that don't have to work. How does that make sense? You have to get up and go to work for people that don't have to work. I mean, make that make sense. Make it really, really make sense, okay? You have to get up and pay for people. You have to pay taxes to people that don't work. So I remember when I was a kid, and I'll never forget, when you go home and you have Christmas break. Well, we had a neighbor named Miss Betty. And I'll never forget Miss Betty. Miss Betty, that's a whole nother video. Okay, but Miss Betty would always, no matter what, she was always at home. And I used to always wonder, because Miss Betty, was young when my mom was younger. Miss Betty was young. She was able-bodied. Always saw Miss Betty at home. And it baffled me, like, how the hell is she always at home, So when we get home from Christmas break, my mom still had to go to work. When I was a kid, my dad would go out in the morning. They both would get up, they had to be to work. They had to leave the house at 4:30. My dad would always get up at about like 3:45. He would go outside. He would warm up the car for my mom. He never wanted my mom to get inside of a cold car. So the car would always be warm when my mama stepped in the car. And, while he was doing that, she would make him like lunch and some breakfast or whatever, and they would go. Well, okay. So my mom would leave. My mom left, and, so I got up that morning. My mom gave me a long list of stuff that I had to do every single day. Okay, she gave me a long list of stuff to do, and I got, was getting it done. So the first thing I would do is go out and go check the mail. Well, I'm looking in the mailbox, and my mom and them gone. I see Miss Betty at work. Now it's 6 o'clock, and I'm thinking, well, maybe Miss Betty don't really have to work. Maybe she go to work later. Okay? Well, I go back outside at 10 to cut the grass. Lo and behold, Miss Betty at home. And I'm like, damn, okay, well, maybe Miss Betty work a second shift job. Maybe she works second shift. Okay. So I go out, and I have to leave, go to the store. I go to the store, and I have to get all the stuff done for my mom get home. So I had to go and get her a list of things she needed from the store. This is like 4 o'clock. Okay, Miss Betty coming in the store. And I'm sitting there like, damn, she don't work? Well, how the hell she get money? She spending money? And man, Miss Betty pulled out a wad. I'm talking about Miss Betty had a bankroll of food stamps. I said, damn, and then I ain't know what food stamps were. So Miss Betty had a damn bankroll of food stamps, and she said, okay, I got that for you. Oh, I get it for you. I said, wait a minute, that ain't money, Miss Betty. She said, baby, these are food stamps. I said, what's a food stamp? She said, well, it's money that the government give you, but you can only buy it for food, and they don't put taxes on it. I said, oh. So, Miss Betty, bought my mom stuff, and then, I took it home. And I never forget this, man, because my mom came home, and I said, Mama, how can Miss Betty be at home all day, and Mama, Miss Betty don't go to work, but I see you and Dad get them go to work? And so my mom broke it down. She said, son, she said, Miss Betty got something called Section 8, and she on welfare. Yeah, she get welfare benefits. And I said, what you mean? Well, it's for people to help people to pay their bills. And I said, oh, well, Mama, you and Daddy always complain about bills. Won't you get some of the benefits to pay your bills? Man, my mama reached back. And I'm talking about my mama reached back into the depths of heaven. And my mama slapped the shit out of me. And I'm talking about, man, when she slapped me, she slapped the taste right out my damn mouth. And I said, what the hell? What was that for? And she said, I will lay down before I even think to get on Section 8 or welfare. That's what she told me. And from that moment forward, I understood that I could never, ever be a lazy adult. I understood that. I got it. Okay, my mom programmed that into my head since the day I can figure out how to work. My mama programmed me from a young age. My dad programmed me. They programmed me. They programmed me to get up and get my ass up and go to work. Well, now, my mom's a millionaire. She's a millionaire now. And my mom played the game. She figured out, that she didn't want to keep trading hours for dollars. My mom figured that out. And, my mom got several streams of income. And my mom was able to, get her first million. I think she got her first million about 10 years ago. About 10 years ago, and my mama just started working the system. Start figuring out what you got to do. But see, and that's going to lead into something else. It's going to lead into DEI. The thing of it is, man, you got people on Section 8 that they're able-bodied. And I'm sorry, but who the fuck want to keep paying taxes, man, to these motherfuckers that don't want to get their ass up? So good. The fact that Trump finna cut all that mess out, good. Make these people go get a job. Because they've been sitting around. This people been on Section 8, been on welfare for 10 years. And it wasn't designed for that long, y'all. It's not designed for long term. It's designed, to help you get on your feet and get yourself self-sufficient. That's what it was designed for. But you got so many people, man, that take advantage of it. And so now people have gotten comfortable just letting the government give them money. Give them the handout. Yeah, go on and take this handout. People have gotten comfortable doing that. Okay, so now let's go into DEI. My thoughts on DEI are this. Okay, it's needed. The DEI needs to be here. Because companies, they're not gonna do blind interviews. They're not gonna do blind resumes. They don't want to do it. See, we wouldn't need DEI if it wasn't for racism. Like, I don't understand how people can be so damn stupid and not understand what the hell DEI for. You know damn well, all you people that don't like DEI, that we got a lot of racist motherfuckers in this country. And don't try to tell me that, oh man, well, DEI not needed, man. It's just a crutch to help black people get in positions. No, it ain't a crutch. What it does is it leaves people on an even playing field. That's what DEI does. It puts people on the even playing field, puts black folks on the even playing field. So you have an equal chance to get the same opportunities that all the white folks get. It's not that difficult to figure out. We wouldn't need DEI if people wasn't racist. I mean, folks, it's just what it is. And you're going to tell me you take away DEI, right? And do y'all really believe that every person in a position of power, because most of the people in positions of power are white people, it's not black people. Do you think for 1 minute that every person in a position of power, do you think for 1 minute that they're not going to look at a person's race? They're not going to look at the damn name on the resume and know that that's a brother, know that that's an Indian, know that that's a Mexican, know that that's, Latino. So you don't think that they're going to know, they ain't going to know that? Or when they talk to them or see them and they finally look at them, you don't think, that some of these people are in power, you don't think to believe for 1 minute that they're going to discriminate against that person, because it's still happening now. It's still happening now. I mean, if you're telling me, nah, man, people going to be fair. Nah, stop. Okay? Because racist hiring practices, they're still alive right now. We can debate this all day. I'll debate anybody on the topic. I'll debate anybody. Okay? And if a black person does get the opportunity, they got to work 5 times as hard. Now, y'all know me. I'm not opposed to working hard. And if I understand the game and if I know I got to work 5 times as hard, okay, good. See, let me tell you how really it should work. DEI, it shouldn't be a crutch, man. It should never be used and thought of as a crutch. See, when people are hiring people, this is what need to happen. This is what, in my world, okay? First of all, the resumes should not have it shouldn't link a person anywhere to what their ethnicity is or race is. Shouldn't link them. Don't even put the names, because some people in power, they can tell what your nationality is. They can tell what that is based on what your name is. They know. They can legit, okay? They can legit figure out what race you are based on the name that you give them, okay? Wipe away colleges and all that stuff. Just put down what you know how to do, what your skill set is, okay? How well you do the skill set and how many years you've been doing it. That's all the people know. What you know how to do. It's called a blind resume. It's called blind. So you don't even know. And then even moreover, when you do the interview, what's up? The interview, when the person's having an interview, that interview don't even need to be, the person shouldn't be able to see you. They shouldn't be able to identify who you are. Okay? The interview should be a blind interview. Okay? And what I mean by blind interview is you sit behind a glass, like, in the police, when they're looking at criminals, and you get the witness to identify who the criminal is. Well, you're welcome. The criminals can't see who the witness is. What's up? The criminals can't see who the witness is. I got you. That's what that is. So it's called a blind interview. And you have the interviewee, okay? The people, you distort their voice, because some people can tell, they shouldn't tell if you're a woman, if you're black, if you're white. They shouldn't even be able to tell anything except your qualifications. That's it. That's the only thing they should know, is what you can do. That's it. Distort the voice, can't see the person, and you ask all the questions you want. That's it. It should be based off merit. Hold on, y'all. All right, y'all stretch out. Speed week. It should be based off merit versus visual. It should be based off merit. And if you do that, then and only then the person can reveal themselves when that person has been hired. Okay? Based off their skill set. Based off everything. They do the background check, but still, even with a background check, these employers, they don't need to know if the person is male, female, anything. They don't need to know. Okay? All they need to know is, what can you do to help the company make money? But until that process has been vetted and in there, DEI is necessary. It's necessary because what it does is it halts discrimination, and it makes people be aware of what it is they're doing. It completely halts discrimination. It halts it. So those are my thoughts on all of that. Okay, that's my thought. Tell me, y'all tell me too what you think.